So I often tell my guitar students here in Vancouver that whenever you start a practice session, always try to start with the most boring thing first. And the reason for that is because, once we start playing our favorite songs, and especially once we start playing songs that we're good at, we're very unlikely to then go back and practice our scales or whatever, right? Because it's just not as fun. But ultimately, we should all be practicing things like scales and picking exercises because those are the things that help us to make big leaps in our skill level. But sometimes I will write very specific exercises for a student. So, for example, if a student needs a lot of exercise in alternate picking, maybe I'll write them something that just sounds a little more interesting so that it's not just playing scales up and down, that it has a bit of a melody to it, that maybe it's a bit quirky or funny or whatever. And then they'll feel more motivated to practice. So I wrote one of these this week and I thought I'd share it with you and give you an opportunity to practice your flat picking skills, which for any of us who are playing with a pick, which is most of us, we could all use more practice with that, right? Now, this is kind of bluegrass, country inspired, but if you're not into that genre of music, I mean, really, this is still all classic skill that we all should learn how to play. It's in the key of G, it's in mostly an open position here, and it's using major pentatonic and open with the blue notes. So eventually what you want to do is be able to get to play this quite fast, maybe 200 beats per minute, maybe faster. Anyway, it's up to you how far you want to take it. At the very least, try to keep it smooth and maybe try practicing it with the metronome. That will definitely help with your tempo and keeping every note on beat as much as possible. So I'm going to walk you through it after this little demonstration of how it sounds. Okay, so now let's walk you through how each part works. The first part is just structured on a G chord, right? So we're going to actually start on a G note, and then we're going to walk through what would be major pentatonic in open position. So this is very, very classic bluegrass. This is... Now, as you speed these things up, try to make sure that you're picking every single note here, that you're not cheating by doing hammer-ons, right? Sure, these licks can be played with hammer-on, and sometimes they are. But the goal of this exercise really is for us to improve our flat picking, our alternate picking, right? So try to be a stickler. So here's that lick again from the G. Since the first note's a quarter note, it's a down, and then the next one is also a down. So the pick direction is down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Right? Now, we finish off the next bar with... Right? Lots of cool blue notes in there. Don't move on until you've got each phrase pretty good, at least at that tempo. And then... once you've got the whole thing, then you can start speeding it up, right? So here's the second phrase, still on G. So starting again from that G note. Again, when you get those quarter notes in a row, ba, ba, those can be down, down. We want to try to keep every downbeat, every 1, 2, 3, 4 to be a down pick, and every upbeat and to be an up pick, right? So that bar 3 and 4 are, right? You can see that down, down on those G's, on the G, G, right? That's down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Okay, so let's do the first 4 bars. We've got... That was all based on G major pentatonic. The last 2 notes, right, that B flat B, are basically walking to our C note. because now the song is implying a C chord, and we're going to do basically the same lick, but on C major pentatonic. So we're starting from our C note there, 3rd fret, right? We go. Right, so that's from C. Okay. So to slow it right down, this is kind of the same thing again, right? It's like the same lick, but on C. Now we go back to a G chord. So we're going to hit the G note, and we're doing a very similar lick. It starts out the same as the first lick. Yep, but then we're going to start walking up the fretboard to make it more interesting. So the first bar of this G now, this is, what bar is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is bar 7. Fine, that was the same as the first bar, right? But then we walk up. So what's going to have to happen now is that your left hand is actually going to shift up a fret, because we're going to start walking up. So that bar is... right? So if I put this bar 7 and 8 together, it goes... and we end on a G note again there, right? Because we're still accenting that G harmony there. That's... okay. Now, we're going to be thinking D chord. And we're going to start on 3rd fret of the B string, which is a D note, right? And it's going to go... we just shift up for this. First finger is on that D note, and then we just shift up to the 5th fret with the first finger again still. Okay, that's the whole D sequence. You've got to exercise your pinky there for that 8th fret C note there. Eventually that pinky will get very strong and agile and be able to move almost as fast as the other guys, maybe not as fast as the other guys, and that's okay. Okay, and then in the last 2 measures, we finally get to do some pull-offs. Like I said before, is try not to do any pull-offs and hammer-ons and any of the other parts, because the point of most of this exercise is to practice your flat picking and your down-up picking, right? So no cheating. Because sometimes when students want to move faster, they want to play something faster, they start cheating by turning some of the notes into hammer-ons when they're not written as hammer-ons, right? So be careful you're not doing that. But here, you actually get to do a series of pull-offs. We're going to go, it was back basically on a G chord, and we're going to go G there, and we're going to pull off to 0, and go straight back to that D. So that's... now the pick direction here is going to be a bit different. We're going down, down. We're going down, down there because this is a pull-off, which sends us to beat 2, which would be a down pick anyway, right? It's basically because we're not doing the up pick that would have been there because we're doing the pull-off, right? So the up pick is missing. So it's down, down. And then the next note is this open E, right? So that open E will be up, because that's the end of 2. 1 and 2 end. So he's up. And now we do the similar pull-off, but we do it on the B string. And then we go below to the B flat 3rd fret of the G. And that's down up like before on the other strings. So put that together. That's a pretty cool sound. Make sure you got that pick direction correct. Try not to cheat. Sometimes what happens is students don't realize they're not doing the correct pick direction, and they're just kind of faking it, right? But if you If you cheat, it's gonna slow you down a lot in the long run, and you're not gonna be able to get this thing fast, which eventually is what we would want to do, right? And now we have a quick double pull-off on the G string, 3-2-0. Or, yeah. And that's the end. Because of the pull-offs, this part's actually not that hard to get fast, right? Cool. So remember to keep it slow, remember not to cheat with your picking direction, and you know, there's no reason to be the fastest guitar player in the world. Set your own goals and what's right for you and what you want to do as a guitar player. But certainly practicing our picking before we practice any of our favorite songs is always helpful, because once we start practicing our favorite songs, it's hard to go back and do, you know, the more technical and maybe less interesting exercises. And yet it's often those exercises that will really help us in our skill level to take some leaps and bounds. So you can download that tab from my website. That's at bluemorris.com. So please like and subscribe, share this video, check out my other videos, or have a look at my book. It's called Guitar Soloing Like a Pro and Guitar Strumming Like a Pro, and they are both available on Amazon. Thanks a lot.